The show opens up on the streets where an elderly woman stops by some roadside beggars. She later brings them to her house, lets them have some quality meals, and leaves. Right then, a devilish-looking man with blue skin color appears and tries to attack the beggars. He is about to kill them, but luckily, a demon slayer, Jang Kang, arrives there and throws it away. Jang then uses supreme water control powers and confines the devil within it, impaling it badly. It turns out the creature is actually the son of the same elderly woman. She begs Jang to bring him back to normalcy, as he was the one who mis-executed the forbidden soul-shifting technique on her son and made him go wild. But to her dismay, Jang refuses to do it and mentions that it is useless as her son has already gone too far. Ultimately, Jang throws the creature into the ocean, which, upon losing its energy, transforms into a rock. I can already tell this show's gonna slap. In the following scene, an ailing emperor discovers these failed soul-shifting experiments by Jang and invites him to the palace. However, instead of punishing him, the emperor requests Jang to exchange souls with him for a few days so that he can conceive an heir to the throne. "I'm going to need to borrow that dick." At first, the demon slayer refuses, claiming it is dangerous, but when the stubborn emperor insists, he gives in. Soon, Jang begins the forbidden procedure and successfully exchanges souls with the emperor. However, as soon as it is done, the emperor rushes to meet Jang's wife, Do Hua. He immediately begins making love with her, and the poor woman happily complies, unaware that it is not her husband. Dark. The scene then fast forwards by 20 years where we are introduced to Noxu, a skilled assassin who has been killing mages. She fights with Park Jin, the leader of the Park family, one of the top 4 families in the city of Daiho. Noxu manages to defeat a large number of soldiers alone, but she is ultimately overpowered by Park Jin, who injures her with his sword. Left with no options, she flees the battlefield and quickly transforms her soul into a different body. Soon, Park Jin also arrives, and when he finds out that Noxu is interchanged bodies, he is livid. Nonetheless, he takes her body and her sword, hoping she will return for them. Elsewhere, Noxu has possessed the body of a girl named Mu Deok. It turns out she is a blind girl who is about to be sold to a brothel. However, after the switch, Noxu has retained some of her qualities, because of which she is able to see clearly. Later, when she is brought to the brothel, a senior female approaches her and makes her aware of the 4 seasons of Daiho. It turns out that a group of 4 talented and appealing offspring of the 4 prestigious families, the Park family, the Xiao family, the Jin family, and the Jang family, represent 4 different seasons in Daiho. After hearing this, Noxu remembers that these are the very descendants of the people who had killed her parents when she was a child, a murder that she witnessed. Later, Noxu tries to flee the brothel, and on the way, she stumbles upon one of the princes of the place, Jang Uk. Despite being the son of Jang Kang, he is alluded to be the offspring of his mother's extramarital relationship. When Noxu attempts to rob him of his money, Jang Uk convinces her into stealing his jade plaque instead, and allows her to flee. As she runs away, Jang Uk seems impressed by her moves, and guesses her to be the real Noxu. Elsewhere, the group for which Noxu previously worked as an assassin wants to remove all of her traces so that no one can ever relate them with Noxu. In the following scene, Noxu visits the market to sell the plaque that she got from Jang Uk. Right then, she notices Xiao Yule, prince of the Xiao family, and remembers that he is the one to whom she gifted her bird whistle during their young age. At the buyer's shop, suddenly, a few guards from the Jang family arrive and capture her. Afterward, Noxu is brought back to Jang Uk's place, where he reveals that he has purchased her from the brothel. He now intends to use her as his personal maid. Having no other options left, Noxu agrees to follow Jang Uk's orders. Later, she discovers that Jang Uk has a plaque that she can use to enter Songrim, a secret place where mages and royals train magical spells and improve their skills. Noxu is well aware that she needs to gain back her powers before entering the place. Yet, she makes the decision to enter Songrim discreetly, hoping that her sword will help her regain some of her powers. Later at night, after Jang Uk falls asleep, Noxu steals his plaque and runs to Songrim. Soon, Jang Uk also opens his eyes, and it appears as if he was well aware of what's happening. Meanwhile, Noxu enters Songrim to get her sword back, but finds the place being attacked by a group of shadow assassins. They light a fire in the training center and attack the guards. Noxu watches from afar as the 4 seasoned soldiers stave off the assassins, which appear to have been sent by a guy in a black cloak who worked as Noxu's superior. While the 2 groups are fighting, Noxu runs toward Jeongjingak, a training center where mages and people of Songrim are trained. Here, she gets to know that the assassins have been sent by her superior to get hold of these items. Meanwhile, after realizing that the fire in the training center is simply a diversion, Park Jin, the leader of Songrim, rushes to Jeonjingak. However, to his shock, Noxu's body and sword have already been stolen by the shadow attackers. He then urges everyone to look for the invaders and capture them before they manage to flee. While looking around, Xiao Yul spots Noxu and begins chasing after her. He is about to catch up to her when suddenly, Jang Uk steps in to save her day. He pulls her to a safer place and under the moonlight observes a distinctive pattern in Noxu's eyes. Looking at her, Jang Uk mentions that she is supposed to be the master he is looking for. Here, the scene flashes to the past, and it is revealed that Jang Uk is the one whom Do Hua had given birth to right before she died. Sadly, Jang Kang refused to accept him as his son, and also blocked his gate of energy, hindering him from using any superpowers. Back to the present, Jang Uk reveals to Noxu that he knows about her true identity. In exchange for protecting her, he begs her to serve as his master. Right then, Xiao Yul notices Noxu and tries to attack her with his sword, but Jang Uk again manages to save her. Seeing him, Xiao Yul gets surprised and apologizes for his sudden attack. Soon, Park Dangu, a descendant of the Park family, also joins them, while Jang Uk and Xiao Yul are talking about past incidents. Sometime later, Jang Uk introduces Mu Diak, aka Noxu, as his personal maid, and Xiao Yul apologizes for chasing her earlier. Park Dangu also praises her for making an effort to protect her master. They then inform the duo about Noxu's missing body. Elsewhere, Park Jin learns that a spy is hiding in Songrim and orders his men to identify him or her. Afterward, in the secret chamber where her original body was kept, Noxu, Jang Uk, Xiao Yul, and Park Dangu gather and start to discuss. To Noxu's annoyance, Jang Uk keeps insulting her real self, making her frustrated and even more determined to eliminate him. Soon after, the two are left alone. Jang Uk coerces her to reveal her true identity, and she admits that she is Noxu. In turn, she asks him about his motivation for assisting her. Jang Uk says that he wants her to serve as his master. Surprisingly, Noxu declines his offer, compelling Jang Uk to use a hidden device to confine themselves inside Jeonjingak. He then warns Noxu that if she kills him, soldiers of Songrim will find her when they open the chamber. But if she accepts his offer to be his master, he can protect her from getting killed. Later, after describing how weak she has become due to the soul shifting, Noxu informs Jang Uk that she needs to find her sword to regain her powers. She also mentions that she will need her sword to open his energy gate, which was closed years ago. Hearing this, Jang Uk asserts that they can't attempt to open the locks until the closing mechanism ends. This infuriates Noxu, and she tries to strike Jang Uk, but in the process, she unknowingly steps on a floor switch, causing the floor to collapse. Later, the two manage to escape the secret room, only to be taken to the training center where Park Jin has requested everyone to gather. They also meet Park Dangu there, who tells them that Park Jin has assembled them there to look for Noxu's men, who are believed to be responsible for the attack. According to Park Jin, there is a soul-shifting traitor among them who will be exposed with the aid of the Jin family's ghost. As soon as he says so, a princess from the Jin family arrives with a strange vessel and unleashes the sorcery-detecting ghost named Sapsali Gwingu. It slowly flies out from the antique pottery and starts to look around, taking on the shape of an animal. Just as Jang Uk and Noxu anticipate an attack from it, Guigu leaps upon another soul shifter behind them. The latter tries to escape, but Xiao Yul easily finishes him off with a single strike. Meanwhile, Noxu views this as a chance to escape, but when Guigu returns to assault her, she is caught by Jang Uk. After directing her to flee, Jang Uk himself dashes back to the training facility and smashes the priceless pottery, eliminating Guigu and therefore rescuing Noxu. However, because of this, Park Jin and the family reprimand him. Jang Uk is then given the punishment to stay outside for the night. During this time, Noxu visits the brothel and purchases some explosives from the owner. In exchange, she trades Jang Uk's Songrim spirit plaque that she had been carrying around. The scene then switches to the men's meeting site in Donju, where the leader pledges to transform everyone who brought Noxu's body to them into into soul shifters. But as soon as the leader leaves the room, his men kill everyone who helped in bringing Noxu there. The leader is revealed to be a powerful chief named Jinmu. Following the massacre, everyone in the area starts believing that Jinmu is the one who brought Noxu and her men's bodies back to the palace. At the palace, for his brave act, the emperor tries to appoint Jinmu as the Guanju, the leader of the soldiers. But the Sangrim members oppose it. They believe that since Jiang Kang is still the Guanju, the decision is baseless. The emperor then alters the prize for Jinmu and fulfills his request to publicly burn Noxu's corpse while retaining her sword at Qianbuguan, a place which is used to keep valuable items of royal families safely. Later, when Jang Uk gets to know about this, he goes to meet Jinmu to get Noxu's sword. At first, the latter refuses to comply, but when Jang Uk mentions that he is the son of the current Guanju, Jinmu quietly hands the sword over. Meanwhile, Noxu makes her way to the place where her real body is being set on fire. This devastates Noxu, but when Jang Uk approaches her with her sword, she cheers up a bit. The two then move to a different location where Noxu tries to unsheath her sword but fails. Seeing this, Jang Uk berates her, saying that she is not qualified enough to be his master. Disappointed that she has become a total failure, Noxu leaves to commit the unthinkable. Later, she goes to the edge of Lake Gyeongcheon-daeho and remembers Jinmu calling it the Cemetery of Soul Shifters. Noxu then dives into the water, and as soon as she reaches the depths, she feels energized. This time she successfully takes her sword out of its sheath. Soon after, Jang Uk also arrives there and is surprised to see Noxu by the lake with her blade unsheathed. He rushes to check up on her, but Noxu abruptly passes out. In Sejuquan, the official infirmary of the royals and the mages, Noxu awakens and tries to draw her sword, but fails. She then learns from Jang Uk that it was the lake which allowed her to draw the sword. There is a magical strength inside the waters, which cannot be found anywhere else. Hearing this, Noxu realizes that she requires a powerful person to drive the energy out of her. So, she devises a new strategy. At night, while the two are conversing, Jang Uk drinks a cup of herbal tea. As soon as he does so, Noxu reveals that she has actually poisoned the drink, and the only way to bring him out of the poison's effect is by opening the gate of energy. Right then, Park Jin and his senior arrive at the scene, and seeing Jang Uk in pain, they rush to help. Noxu tells them about the poison, and the fact that Jang Uk has only 6 hours left until his heart stops. She also reveals that the only way to rescue him is by opening his gate of energy.
Sounds like a euphemism, Noxu. What are you playing at?
However, Park Jin is only interested in knowing the name of the poison she fed to his friend. When she remains silent, he takes Noxu away and punishes her brutally. But despite this, she remains tight-lipped, leaving them with no option but to open his gate of energy. Sometime later, Hyo Yam, the senior of the Jang family, approaches Jang Uk and unlocks his gate of energy to save him. The procedure works, and he slowly regains consciousness. Surprisingly, when he learns that Noxu is being kept hostage for poisoning him, he rushes to save her. He quickly unties the ropes from Noxu's hands and legs, and they both finally address each other as master and pupil. Poison me again, mommy. The scene then flashes back to the past when Park Jin questions Jang Kang regarding his son's origins and the rationale behind shutting down his energy gates. Jang Kang responds by saying he is doing so to safeguard the child from being ill-treated and to free him from extra pressure. Back to the present, Jang Uk brings Noxu back to the shelter, and when he sees Park Jin, he starts apologizing. He lies that he poisoned himself and begs for his approval to take Noxu to Sejuquan to have her wounds treated. As expected, Park Jin gets enraged, but Seo Yul and Park Dang-gu calm him down and somehow convince him to let the duo receive treatment. After this, as Jang Uk is trying to assist Noxu to her feet, he notices a blue mark developing in her eyes. Fearing that she will be exposed, he quickly covers her eyes. After a while, with the help of Seo Yul and Park Dang-gu, they leave for Sejuquan. Afterward, we see Master Hyo Yam and Park Jin debating the earlier incident. Hyo Yam admits that in order to speed up Jang Uk's recovery, he gave him his own energy, which is worth 10 years. This surprises Park Jin, and he requests Hyo Yam to take back his energy as soon as possible. However, the master refuses. On the other hand, given that Noxu's behavior has been anything but typical, we can see that Seo Yul is starting to have doubts about her. The scene then shifts to Jang Uk and Noxu, who are currently at Sejuquan and talking about the previous incidents. Afterward, Jang Uk states that no one has ever jeopardized her life for him or understood his need as she did. And now, as both of them are alive, he promises to accept her as his master. Jang Uk then prepares to bow down to his new master, but Noxu interrupts him and puts forward some conditions. No one should find out about their master-pupil relationship, and that they need to depart once their objectives are achieved. Noxu will promptly leave after she transforms into her original form, since he won't have any incentive to protect her. Later, Jinmu admits to killing the physical form of Noxu's soul-containing body, but when he asks his subordinate about the blue mark on her body, the latter lies that it was already on the corpse at the time of the examination. Jinmu then deduces that Noxu must have used all her energy, because of which she was unable to fight back. He recalls the past, when Jiang Kang had his soul switched into the Emperor's body. It is then revealed that this incident is what inspired him to learn about soul shifting from Jiang Kang. Next, Noxu starts her teachings with Jiang Uk and tells him about the 3 requirements for being the finest mage in all the land. During their classes, she quickly learns that he has no background in martial arts, making it even more difficult for her to train him. In the following scene, as Noxu is cleaning outside Sejuquan, she and Master Hyo-yam get into a minor argument. However, he tells her not to be offended, as his wrath is only directed at Jiang Uk. Hyo-yam also tells her that he genuinely loves Jiang Uk, and has invested his energies to help him recover faster. When the latter also confirms this, Noxu becomes excited. She now intends to steal this energy for him, but in order to do so, she needs Hyo-yam's breathing technique. As Hyo-yul is a member of Hyo-yam's family, and is probably using a similar breathing pattern, Noxu pursues him to learn the technique. Hyo-yul then becomes intrigued and gets closer to her, but as he is about to explain his breathing pattern, Jiang Uk arrives there and ruins the whole setup. He then reveals to Noxu that he has already managed to acquire the breathing skill from Hyo-yam and is currently practicing it. Later, a new character, the Crown Prince of Daiho, Go-wan, is introduced. He is revealed to be Jinmu's student, and the latter informs him that Jiang Uk has taken Noxu's sword, despite the fact that the Emperor gave it to him. Hearing this, Go-wan gets angry at Jinmu and criticizes him.
Ha! Go on with your bad self.
Later, Park Jin calls Jiang Uk up to the main hall and announces his expulsion from the Songram group, making everyone surprised. When Jiang Uk doesn't return the spirit plaque, he is subsequently given a severe punishment of 100 floggings. After this, Jiang Uk and Noxu can be seen leaving Songram, carrying their personal belongings. In a flashback, Park Jin's motivation was made clear when Jiang Kang revealed to him that Jiang Uk is actually the late Emperor's offspring. Now, the only way to protect him from being the new Emperor is by never allowing him to enter his gates. The episode ends with Jiang Kang stating that Jiang Uk can survive if he quietly lives as his son, but if he doesn't, death is imminent. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.